Moo.
Canadian Cow Gaming.
Hey there, thanks you for popping in for another video here. We're going to be talking about the recent changes and big buffs to Evoker in general. These are exactly what the community has been asking for. It's what everybody wants as Evoker. Over the last couple weeks of Mythic testing, we've discovered that Evoker is very, very squishy. And at certain levels of difficulty, we would just get one shot. Recently, there's been put in some changes here to improve our survivability. So the first piece of survivability improvement was that we now have a passive 75% armor buff through the passive of Tempered Scale. So that has recently been added. In addition to that, our talent and our only real defensive Obsidian Scales has been buffed quite a bit. So it has had its cooldown reduced from 2.5 minutes to 1.5 minutes without any talents. It now can have a maximum of 2 charges if you get the second talent to buff it up more. And the percent of reduction has increased from 20% to 30%. So before it was 200% armor, which was roughly 30%, and it was 20% magic. And now it's just a flat 30% across the board for all damage and on a 1.5 minute cooldown. I'll pull it up here so you can take a look. So you can see here, reinforced scales reducing damage by 30% for 12 seconds. You can then buff it with Obsidian Bulwark to gain an additional charge of Obsidian Scales. So this is huge. This means that we actually have survivability now, whereas we didn't beforehand. We don't have to rely on Twin Guardians in order to get us that extra shield if we need it, relying less on Renewing Blaze to try and keep magic damage off of us. So this is all in all a really good change for Evoker. It's going to make us a lot better suited for a lot more content, and if we're tuned correctly, maybe really good for Mythic Plus as well for pushing those higher keys. Some of the other changes that were done was with Renewing Blaze, a nice buff to this as well. So whereas before it used to be an 8-second buff in which all damage taken within it would then be converted into healing for 12 seconds after that timer has expired. Now it's 8 and 8. So there's just a few bugs with it that have been noticed where it's not quite healing for the full 100% of damage taken. It's a roughly 86% ish. But I'm sure they'll go through and hopefully fix that. And so this just increases that amount of healing that you get. So if you take 100k damage before, it would be done over 12 seconds, and now it's going to be done over 8. So you're going to be able to heal yourself up faster after a large damage intake happens, or when you're just taking rot damage, you'll be able to heal more effectively. Especially if you take something like Fire Within, where it's now drops it down to a 30-second cooldown. So there's also some other smaller buffs, such as the amount of healing done by Living Flame has been increased by 20% for Devastation, not Preservation, just Devastation. Panacea, that has also been buffed by 100%. So now when you cast Emerald Blossom on yourself, you're going to heal for a lot more than what you used to heal for. And Regenerative Magic, the talent that goes with Source of Magic. So they have now increased it from 10% to 15%. So now whenever you put, if you have those two talents, if you put Source of Magic on a healer, you'll receive a passive 15% heal from them while they're healing other people. So another really nice buff. What this basically means to me is that in fights in which there's a lot of rot damage going on, you're going to take Source of Magic, Regenerative Magic, a 30-second Fire Within, and you are going to be just constantly healing yourself for the whole fight. You're almost going to be like not required to have a healer healing you, I would say. Maybe not to that point, but it'd be pretty darn close. The other cool little buff that happened was that Deep Breath now removes roots and snares, whereas it didn't before. So now if you get rooted, you can just Deep Breath out. So I guess that's more of a PvP thing rather than PvE, but still nice. And then the buff to Snapfire duration. So Snapfire being the talent that you would take with Firestorm. Snapfire allows your Living Flame to cause you to reset the cooldown on Firestorm. The buff from that and the duration in which you have to cast it has been changed from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. So just a little quality of life change. So overall, great changes for the Evoker. Nothing to complain about there. The only thing that I would like to see tuning wise, and this will be coming in later tuning patches probably the next couple weeks, would be to buff Pyre a little bit more, because right now Pyre is just not a strong talent, or just not a strong ability to take. You take it because you have to, rather than it's something you're actually going to use in AoE. So hopefully for that's the only change that I'm really looking forward to. And there is a buff for Soar as well. So Soar's got changed a little bit. They wanted to make it more in line with dragon riding. So now when you buff up your dragon riding abilities, and you've visited areas, your Soar cooldown will be as low as 1 minute in a zone. So that's going to be pretty fun. Be able to fly around more effectively as a Dracthyr, rather than having to wait to 2-3 minutes to do your Soar ability. You'll be able to do it every minute once you've unlocked the tiers required to do that. But that's it for today. Hopefully you found this a little bit informative, just giving you a little bit more knowledge as to what is going on with the Devastation Evoker. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.